and welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Well, we weren't planning on recording. We were thinking maybe just saving the town hall until next time we record. But you went and did a thing on Tuesday night.
Yeah, yeah, they did.
They went and did things. So we decided to record, share our thoughts on the game against FC Cincinnati, share your thoughts, and kind of just go over all the discussion from the town hall yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And some Union players on the move, maybe on the move, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But before we get started, what are we wearing today?
Well,
Oh, you,
yes.
you got it right out the bag.
Yeah, so Jose Martinez,
Hey,
MLS bootleg shirt. Okay.
it's classic.
Yes. And of course, you know why I wore that. And we're gonna get into all that.
Oh,
But
we are. And I'm wearing a shirt. I'm just wearing this white shirt that I got way back in the day. This is like an old school,
did I get that one for you, I think?
yeah, it was like a long, long time
Yeah,
ago. Like
it was.
pre the one team we grew on. So
Definitely. Mhm.
so where can people find us?
So you can find us on social media on Twitter at TOTWAG. We're on Instagram and Facebook at The One Team We Agree On. Our website is theoneteamweagreeon.com, and our YouTube channel is at The One Team We Agree On. And you can find me on TikTok at not silly Julie. That's although I got to talk about that then. But no, at Jillian_Omni. Silly Jilly is my nickname. It's my Twitter handle, silly_Jilly, but it's like my Instagram name too. But that comes from a nickname that my dad would call me when I was a little kid. And and my teammates would call me, but in college swimming.
Do you
But
just want to get it out of the way right now?
so and listen, as someone whose name gets screwed up a lot, pronunciation wise.
I mean, my last name, your last name.
Before I got married to you, people didn't mess up my last name, but people
Trust
always
me.
messed up my first name. You know how many times in my life I've been called Julian, first of all, when my name is clearly written as Jillian? It's like literally, can you read that? But um, you know, we got to talking about like pronouncing players' names right and stuff, like Sam Adeniran or Adeniran, if I get to talk to him, I'll ask him once in a while, like, what is the correct way? Because I've heard it several different ways. But that being said, I really like to get people's names right and everything.
Mhm.
But just for the record, and I'm not gonna like, you know, get mad at you or anything, but just for the record, only a few select people in my life call me Jill. So I do prefer to be called Jillian. Has always been that way, but it's kind of weird in my family if you called me Jill because my dad's longtime girlfriend's name is Jill. So it would get a little confusing in our family. So just putting that out there, I do prefer to be called Jillian. But if you call me Jill, I won't like snap at you or something. Just yeah, putting that out there.
And for the record, I don't even call her Jill.
Yeah, if my own husband isn't calling me that.
I'd
My
never.
best friend and some of my aunts, uncles, and cousins, that's about it.
But again, we're not going to
No,
blow
if
up.
you've called me Jill in the past, I'm like, whatever, but just saying.
We're not going to have a rant tirade.
But yeah, I'm not gonna like snap at you and say, my name is Jillian. Don't call me Jill. I have a name. It's Jillian.
Anyway,
But
moving on.
yeah, we digress. But just this is yeah,
We're having fun today,
a little
folks.
diversion.
So we're having fun today. There's going to be some more fun. But
But the reason I was saying this because like great interview by Sage Hurley on the Dupe with Andre Blake, and I'd asked a question about would Andre would he be open to having restaurant up in Philly because he has a restaurant down in Jamaica, sports bar. Would he open a restaurant in Philly? And he very quickly said yes to that, by the way, which I love. But Sage is like, this question comes from silly Jillian. And Andre's like, silly Jillian. She's like, silly Jillian.
yep.
And hearing Andre Blake say my childhood nickname was something. So that was that just made me smile. So anyway,
If and when you have the opportunity, you should be like, hi, my name's Silly Jill.
hi, I'm silly Julie. I asked about, you doing a restaurant now. But anyway, that was a great interview though. So if you haven't heard it, check it out for sure.
For sure. Let's get into the match.
Yeah.
I mean, so when the lineups are announced, your initial thought?
It was pretty much what I expected, I would say, or not far off from it.
I mean, my biggest thing was, okay, how healthy was Nate Harriel's calf that you when you had asked Jim about that,
Yeah.
how healthy was it? Because birthday boy, shout out to Olivier,
Happy
happy birthday.
birthday.
Um, he got to start. That was probably my only surprise, like,
Yeah, I was kind of expecting it to, but then when think about, yeah, with
the Bedoya made sense. You know, you're going against a good team. You need that leadership
Mhm.
out there. You got Blake. You had the back line outside Biza, pretty much the same. I mean,
I kind of figured he was gonna go with Ua, starting, just
yeah,
because he's just, kind of, um,
been
see
trying out
trying
with
different
that. Yeah.
things, yeah.
So, I mean, overall, I think for me personally, when this game started, I think we all were feeling
Cautiously optimistic.
optimistic.
That's how I felt, cautiously optimistic, but
I mean, ever since Pat Noonan has taken over, the Union have not won in TQL
and
Stadium.
when you said that, Kyle, I was like, "But there's a first time for everything."
I know, but you followed stats.
Yep.
Stats stats paint pictures. And
Well,
so
you're a big stats guy, and I'm a big, not stats person.
so let's get into it. I mean, Union right off the bat, let's talk about that first goal that was ruled potentially. It was close.
Like, within the first, like, 4 or 5 minutes, yeah, we're like, "What?" I think it was in the 5th minute,
It
right?
was in the 5th minute. I mean,
Yeah.
Bedoya probably, and I put this out, plays this beautiful ball to
Beautiful.
Mikel, and that's what you do. Plays the ball, he runs onto it, beats Celentano, 1-0 Union. You're all excited, and then
Super excited, we're, like, going nuts, yeah.
and I'm like sitting there going, that ball, you play that in, you give Ua, those are the kind of balls he runs into, and he finishes. And at the same time, I'm looking at the replay going, this is something where maybe that ball's delivered just a half a second too late, and Mikel makes his run,
Yeah.
and VAR overturns it.
It
And now
the margins
they
were
had
razor thin.
it really was because you're looking there going, did Miles keep him on sides?
Mhm.
Maybe that foot, but at least they checked. They had the line this time. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
But I think more importantly, it showed me there was a great ball
Mhm.
by Bedoya. And if you give Ua those kind of balls, as Jim had said in the previous press conference, him and Mikel had that discussion.
Yeah.
He needs to be on the ball more right off the bat. They're trying to get him involved a little bit more. And bingo, he makes so I as much as it was like, man. And then the second, obviously they went back and forth. Union were creating.
Yes.
Charlotte, I mean, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, Cincinnati, Cincinnati.
I know, right? Like
Cincy.
this is
Huh.
one of those things. Anyway, Cincinnati, you have that ball that kind of goes off the post, and you're sitting there going, hmm. And then the games start going back and forth with
Mhm. Jim
Jim.
did not want a back and
Yeah.
forth
And I'm sitting there going, well,
end-to-end
this
thing.
is exactly what Pat wants.
Yeah.
And we get to half, and of course, Luciano Costa's on the bench.
And we're all like, "It's only a matter of time."
And it was. So the first half, you're sitting there going, okay, that was a good half.
Yeah.
But you wanted the Union, and Jose was saying this whole time, Union need to score before Luciano gets in the game. And we were all just kind of,
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
because the current MVP of this league, when he's in there,
Yeah.
as I said, it's like Thanos, he's inevitable
Yeah.
because he will make a difference. And lo and behold, what happens at halftime?
Acosta gets subbed in.
Bingo. And what happens right away? Well, the Union, unlike Cincinnati, the Union go around the attack and bingo, a nice chip pass, finds Ua for the one timer,
And this one counts.
beats Celta. And the best
Yes.
part was it was like looking at my own side of my own side.
Yeah,
So
I know, and it's kind of gotten to a point where, like, every time I'm always like, "Is the flag up? Is the flag up?" But no, that was a great one, a great way to start off the half, and
yeah, guys like they said,
they
nice
didn't
little.
concede first.
No,
They've
they
gotten
didn't.
better at not conceding first. I mean, it's,
And
been
this
such
is
a problem
after
for a while.
probably the first 5 minutes.
It was with it I think
It was the first
it was
because
like the
that
51st minute, maybe tops or so. It was pretty
but
early on.
prior to that, like Cincinnati came out and they were cooking and Union
Yeah.
looked flat because I
Yeah.
remember a whole bunch of us like, oh no, here we go. Because I'm thinking it's only a matter of time because like, I think it was, like, in the first or second minute, they were creating
Yeah.
chances already.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, you have that, then, after that, there was that other ball, I guess what was it? It was like they were creating chances. I'm trying to remember here.
I know.
And then they got that counter. Baribo comes in
Yeah.
and bangs one home, and now all of a sudden it's 2-0, and you're thinking,
Yes.
all right, here we go. In the back of my head, I'm like, but NYCFC was up 2-0, and this is a legitimate thing, and I wasn't going to try to jinx it to you, but remember,
Yeah.
NYCFC was up 2-0.
Well, you know what they say about 2-0 lead.
Yeah. And of course, Cincinnati gets that first goal, and you're thinking, "Oh, here we go."
Here we go.
And I tweeted, "You can't let a team like this, like the Union, need to score one more." I'm thinking, "Okay, can make it another one, make it 3-1. Let's put it away."
But then what happened, Kyle?
They scored again.
They tied up. And then at that point, you know what I
Uh,
did? I went in the kitchen, I got some chicken nuggets, and I started to stress eat. And I was just like, and you know what's funny though that happened in between, because the kitchen's like the next room and I could see the TV stuff, but you know what happened between me going and getting a plate of chicken nuggets and stuff and coming back out with them?
what?
Union scored twice.
Well, and that was a
That's
weird thing.
crazy.
So,
And I didn't miss it, but I was like, I actually left my plate of chicken nuggets on the counter, hoping the cats wouldn't get at it, and ran in just in time to see Ty's second goal, and then went back into the kitchen to get them, and then came back out, and then Quinn's goal happened. So, but yeah,
I
let's talk
mean,
about it.
and that was the whole thing was they score 2 unanswered. They get 2-2, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, "Well, can't let a team like this is what the first half did."
And you know what's going through my brain? Oh god, it's gonna end in a tie. It's gonna end in a tie. We're have to gonna go to PKs, and I don't want to deal with that stress.
I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking,
No,
"Here we
that's what
go.
my
Here we go again, another NYCFC where they're
mm-hmm.
gonna just fall apart the second half." And again, to the Union's credit, boom, right down. You make some subs, and here comes Ty again with a banger of the goals, and all of a sudden it's 3-2, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, there we
Yeah.
go. This is gonna be a fight. And like, meanwhile, Danny Higginbottom's loving this. He's like, oh, I love this.
I think Danny Higginbotham called, um, oh, he, um, he also said that Jose Martinez was magnificent on the one play.
he was.
Jose, like, honestly, and we're gonna talk about Jose, but like, if that was his last game with the Union, I thought he had a really strong game.
He for sure he did.
He did. Also, the Union got lucky quite a few times. Kubo kept missing.
Kubo missed. There's a couple
There's a
play,
few like where they're like, how'd
but
they miss that? Or we got, yeah, the Union got lucky with like the crossbar, the post or whatever. But hey, those sometimes you just need those breaks to go your way. Sometimes they don't. So
and then again, Quinn Sullivan making the most out of nothing.
yeah.
Hits it, beats Celentano, and now
Yeah, he took a shot and it deflected back out. And
and,
then he shot it again and
and
boom,
I think
what a
on that one,
goal.
I kind of was just stunned. I called Todd, and
We all just like,
I called Todd. I'm like, this game's far from over. And Todd's
yeah.
like, yeah, this game's over. And I'm like, eh, so. I mean, overall, once that second goal, that just deflated Cincinnati.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But they were still fighting, trying to get that third goal, make it close. You get to extra time. The one thing I will notice, there was a corner kick towards the end of the game,
Yes.
and Kai just kicks it to Deneron,
Like right there in the corner.
and he just goes in the corner and sits. And
Yeah.
that's a nice heads up play because you get a ball, deflects out. Now here comes Cincinnati on the counter.
Mhm.
Boom, knock in. You got 3-2, and now all of a sudden you got 2 minutes stoppage time. Anything can happen. They could tie it up, make it 4-4. Heads up play,
It was.
kind of uses his strength, kind of like Corey Burke.
Mhm.
Gets the ball knocked out for another corner kick. Union play and ball gets cleared. But I thought that was a heads up play.
It really was.
And then so the Union, to all of us, when that whistle blows, we're like, huh, all
They just
right.
did that.
They just came back. And I think there was a great point brought up. Todd and I were talking about this. Is this attack right now better with Ty than with Julian? and that's not a knock on Julian at all. Julian's done
Yeah.
great things. He's going to be probably one of the most successful transfers for what the Union have done with the player. But I mean, right now,
I
this
mean, this
attack
season,
is being confident, and
yeah.
we've seen him score goals all year. It's never been the goals; it's been the defense. And sure, there was lapses again last night. It's not perfect, but what it is there's a belief right now, and
Mhm.
we saw a little bit of that at Leagues Cup, but even last year in Leagues Cup, it was scraping out that Red Bull. It was scraping back
Yeah,
DC.
because those 2 went to PKs.
Yeah. It was inching by. It was
That, like,
last
last-minute
second
heroics by Dono
against
Incredible.
Querétaro.
Mhm.
And then you had the Messi game.
Oh, which was exactly a year ago today, by the
It
way.
was. And then you play a Monterey team that was basically like, "Okay, we're gonna try our second
We're gonna
team.
play our guys with triple digit numbers.
Yeah, we're just gonna see what we got," which I will still say
Well,
to this
I
day
don't blame
was
them.
a very smart move
Well,
because you're
yeah.
already going to Champions
Yeah, it
Cup.
didn't really matter to them, so
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think if nothing else, and I tweeted this at the end, Union come out, we've seen it before. They come out smoking, then they were below the lead. We've seen this a million
yeah.
times. And Todd brought up on his live podcast today, go check it out on his YouTube channel.
Mhm.
Um, about the Union getting out in front and then blowing leads. We
Yeah,
saw it during the summer months.
yeah,
However, what I will say is that this is the first time when you saw them come back and just be like, okay,
yeah.
you kicked us in the mouth. And as a fan, it makes you start to believe again.
Yeah, and I would you say that was their best win this season?
It's up there.
It's definitely up there. I think what was great was to see them go out and score a couple goals, and yeah, they blew that lead, but they answered back. They didn't give up. They didn't hang their heads. They played with a lot of heart, a lot of grit, a lot of resiliency, and and it wasn't in front of their home crowd. It was on the road. They've been very
And
good on the road through that in a
and
tough
TQL
environment.
for TQL, it was dead for them.
I mean, for them, yeah, they still had their supporters that marched in and everything. They still had like
Yeah.
the drums and the horns and all that going. By the way, I wish that we had at the Union. I wish there was like horns of Kyle the baby was playing the horn
Hey.
at Union too. So anyway, but I thought that was really encouraging, and it's going to be interesting to see if they keep this momentum going, cuz my goodness, they've I think made Believer. I mean, I never really fully gave up on them, but man, was it hard to watch for a while there. But it has you kind of believing it, and
They're not out of the woods yet.
oh no, no, no,
I
no, no.
will say that, and we're not saying they're out of the woods, but what I am saying is
This is the Union that this is us, would you say? Like how Jim's always like, this isn't us
I
before.
would say that is them. Now, you know, we got a game on Saturday.
Yep.
And then we got 9 more games. I
Mhm.
mean, and Todd brought up a good point. And I've seen some other people comment, well, if they win Leagues Cup, but
Mhm.
they don't make playoffs, it's a season failure. No, if
No, if
they
they
win,
bring home some hardware,
if I will even go this, and
they
I'll
get a
even go a
trophy of
little
any
bit
sort.
better. Like Todd said, it's trophies are the minimum. I just want Leagues Cup. I mean, not Leagues Cup. I want Leagues Cup, but I also just want that CONCACAF Champions Cup draw. I
Yeah.
mean, give me that CONCACAF
Yeah.
at bare minimum. I mean, I'm talking like rock bottom of the seafloor bed. Give me that Champions Cup berth because the money, the
Yeah,
money. This is what the Union depend on. So
it's not a
yeah,
failure, I think, if they qualify for CCC.
I will say this. It well, it would be like, okay, we're breaking even.
Right.
If they win Leagues Cup or they get a trophy, then it's a win. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, I think that would be tremendous, and I really do hope that people show up on Saturday.
I do
If you're
too.
one of those people that have opted out for whatever your choices are, I mean, whatever, but I do hope that people go to this and support the team, because this team, they're playing such good soccer right now. They're cohesive. They
Yeah.
are they've been exciting to watch. That was some of the most exciting soccer I've seen in a little while, watching that game against Cincy. Just really on both sides. That was really good stuff, honestly. And so I just because we don't expect Mazatlan to have the Cruz Azul kind of crowd, do we?
I saw some fans there at the game.
I mean, but they're a newer club, right? Are they newer? Or they're not as I don't know.
I'll say
Their
this,
fan base isn't as
well, I'll say this, their stadium's only 25,000, and it's one of the newer
yeah.
stadiums. I mean,
Okay. Well, so
it's actually a beautiful stadium too, I was looking at it. I was doing some research on them.
yeah, I don't know much about them if their fan base would travel to the
Uh,
extent that Cruz Azul.
Marco Fabian played for them.
Oh yeah.
He did play for them for a season. Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, I better not see any opposing team fans in the River End. Um and yeah, because that would be unfortunate. But I do hope fans turn out, support the boys in blue, and they can move on. And if the Union win this game or
Yeah,
Columbus wins theirs, it looks like that Columbus game that's scheduled for the 24th would
get
get
rescheduled.
rescheduled. So
We'll see what
we'll
happens.
see what happens. So you know, hopefully the Union keep it going, and man, that would be tremendous. Because I mean, MLS Cup, I mean, is it out of reach? Not necessarily. Anything can happen. You just need to get into the playoffs, and anything can happen. But that would be tremendous if they can go win the League's Cup.
My
So
my thought is Jim during that whole slide was saying, "Hey, all we need to do is get into the playoffs," and
yeah,
he was playing
he's like,
coach,
I wouldn't want to face us if we get into the playoffs.
and maybe this is what he's talking about. I
But
don't know.
I mean,
He's
getting Andre
coached good.
back was huge. Getting Jose Martinez back, and other players that were away. This is the most intact the lineup has been, as Jim said. This so that makes a huge difference, of course. So,
Yeah.
so hopefully everyone does stay healthy and whatnot. But
So
yeah,
yeah, so we'll put a bow tie on that. Wonderful, wonderful Tuesday night.
and then the news that we started seeing,
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about
yeah,
it. I
because
mean, we'll wait to make an official announcement, but
yeah.
it looks like Jose Martinez is on the move to Corinthians
Yeah, and this news started coming
right
out
after
on
the game.
Twitter, like, literally right after the game, and so people are like, "Well, why would he have played if that was the case?" And there was a lot of even if he wanted to play, like, why would that have
And then
happened?
as 24 hours passed, more and more news came
More,
concrete.
like, credible
People
people
came out, more people were, bringing exact details. You were at the town hall, it kind of came up.
and Jim and by the way, I have a, great clip of Jim talking about Jose Martinez, what he's meant to the team and how he came up through, and also Julian Carranza. It's on my personal Twitter, and we retweeted on the One Team We Agree On. But talking about how valuable Jose's been and how he basically developed there, and
Yeah.
he's meant so much to the team. But like the way he was like talking about, yeah, it makes it sound like yeah he's on his way up. But he did say basically like he's still here, but of course, yeah, for
For
the
now.
moment, for now. But yeah, I mean, and listen, if the reports are true that oh, it's going to be like 2 million or so for him, and he just turned 30 and stuff, and go to Corinthians. I mean, good for him. I know he said would love to retire
Right.
in Philly, and I hope so. I mean, he's been tremendous. I hope he does find his way back,
And
maybe.
that's just it. Like when I read that, I was like, okay, so he's going there. You're gonna get something for him.
And yeah, and of course, Danley Jean Jacques is um he's been brought in, and we're not sure if
I
if
mean,
his if he's going to be on the roster here for League's Cup or what's going
but
on.
even if Danley isn't,
We
I
got
mean, I
we
think
got
Danley's
YouTube,
gonna
yeah,
be more on the outside than at the defensive position.
yeah,
I think that's gonna be largely brought up by Jesus and by
yeah,
Leon.
yeah,
And I think that's the thing too. We've seen Leon, especially during when Jose was out,
yeah.
played phenomenal.
He did,
I thought he had some really good games. That's where we're kind of like, oh man, he's looking good.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, losing Jose hurts,
And
but
not only
I'll
that, he's
be
a fan
honest.
favorite too.
I'll be honest with you though too. And this is something. And
Mhm.
prior to Copa,
Mhm.
he wasn't playing all
He
great.
really wasn't. If you're gonna get that from him, like, when he had not the greatest first half of the
Now,
season,
Copa and post Copa, he's been
he
phenomenal.
was phenomenal with Venezuela.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, so does it hurt? Sure.
I mean, d yeah, like,
But
that's talent from the team and a fan favorite.
at the same time, again, this guy's moving on to a good league, going back to Brazil, great league, and again, you have to be happy for him.
Yeah.
As much as it hurts, it's not necessarily, "Oh, we lost this guy." It's
It's good business, actually, like, if from that
don't say that
standpoint,
too loud because people don't wanna hear about the
that doesn't
business,
mean,
but
I
2 things can be true.
yeah.
They could lose some serious talent, but they also could do some same good business, and so,
Yeah, if
we'll
you're
see
looking
where
at
this
that's yeah,
goes.
yeah.
I'm not gonna comment on it much further. We can talk about once it's
Yeah, I thought
official.
yeah.
Um, those things we can talk about that are official first. Nelson Pierre,
Yeah, so
back from his loan,
yep,
is now back off
he's
to Charlotte
so
Independence.
he's been loaned out to Charlotte Independence, where actually former Union player Anton Sorensen is.
And I really hope Nelson sticks.
Yeah.
I mean Neil's bigger brother. Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
The only
uh,
time we've seen him feature with the first team was that friendly against Pachuca, I think.
yeah, and he was
The only one
fine.
Adada played in, by the way.
He was fine.
Yeah.
So but again, and we've seen him in some U2 games. If I'm honest, I'm not sure I think he'll keep getting loaned out unless he really makes a name for himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that he's at least getting these opportunities to
Yeah,
develop and not just, like, ride the bench on the first team
or the second
or
team.
just be yeah, on the second team. So, I hope he and at least for him now, he's back in the US, probably makes it a little easier
Yeah,
for him, but so
wish
and
him the best.
yeah, I really do hope he continues to develop and maybe gets opportunities down the road, maybe to be back with the team. So, and I
If he goes to I think he's in USL, goes and proves himself.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah, I
you
mean,
never know.
yeah, absolutely.
And then today's news breaking: Sanders Ngabo is back home to Denmark.
Yeah, so yeah, he's been we actually he didn't get in the last game and thought maybe he would have gotten in there, but he didn't. So, yeah, so um he has been transferred there back to Denmark to is it their
It's their second.
it's like their second tier, it's like League 1.
Yeah, it's like their
Yeah.
second tier, but at the
Yeah.
same time, again,
Yeah, so so AC Horsens
yeah. So
is what that is.
again, there's a guy was developing, couldn't break the first team, and I thought from the games we watched, he was very good.
Yeah, I think he was one of the best players on the field when he was on with Union too, for sure. Like,
Yeah, at times,
yeah,
and he had some really good games. I'll be honest with you. I think there's a lot of things which we won't comment. We don't really know why he went back.
I mean
It could be he was homesick. We
his
know that.
father passed during the season not too long ago.
Maybe it just wasn't working out. Maybe he wanted to play first team minutes, and
Yeah. So we're
we
not
don't
gonna like kind of
dive in. This is
no.
exactly, but would you say the sign was an oopsie?
No.
No, I wouldn't either.
No, because again, like you said, we don't know exactly but here he is, he's playing in a foreign country. His dad just passed away, and
Yeah,
I that could be tough, and him wanting to go, maybe he wanted to go home, but uh, you can't blame him for that either if that's the case. But I do wish him all the best. I think
yeah,
he's a quality player, and so hopefully he continues to develop, and hopefully his time with the Union proved to be
fruitful.
fruitful.
Yeah,
Jinx.
Jinx. We both
But
said at the time, but
yeah, but seriously,
no,
I
wish him
don't think it
nothing
was a
but the
total
best.
bust. So yeah, wish him all the best, and yeah, we'll see where he goes from here.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be following him. But let's get into the reason we decided to record outside Cincinnati. Was the town hall. So you went.
Yes.
I had work obligations. I was unable to go.
Right.
Um, let's dive into it. I want you to take the lead on this because you were there. I
Yeah.
want you to fill in everybody listening what you kind of witnessed, saw.
Yeah. And if you want, you can show my tweets on
Yeah,
there.
I can do that. I can
Yeah,
pull it up.
so while you pull that up. So I went to the town hall and I got there pretty early. It wasn't I think because the date got moved, because originally it was going to be Tuesday, but then with the game, they moved it to Wednesday. So I know some people weren't able to go as a result. And so um yeah, so they had us in Union Yards,
Mhm.
and I would say it wasn't jam packed because there weren't people on a lot of the benches, for instance, that you would have had your back to the stage there. So I would say it was not completely full. Maybe 100 or so people. I don't know. But I know I had some pictures on there somewhere with showing you what it actually looked like. But anyway, so you had Sage Hurley was kind of the moderator for the night there. And then you had Jay Sugarman, Rich Leibovich, Ernst Tanner, Jim Curtin, and Tim McDermott. So you had all of them there. And, there was a good mix of people. There were people in Sons of Ben. There were people who were longtime season ticket members. You had a couple members of the media, but so a good mix of people there. And there were some good questions that were asked. And then there were some that I was like, you just wasted the question on that. But I'm not gonna say which ones I thought were kind of dumb questions. You guys can all judge those things for yourself. But anyway, so Sage would read some of the online questionnaire kind of questions,
Right.
and different people in the panel would address them. And then people were given the opportunity that were in person there to ask questions with the microphone, which was good. So,
I do like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a few things that stood out. I thought Mike Thomas had good question,
Yeah, he did.
you know, and they talked quite a bit about investment in players. And I know Mike brought up the point that MLS Cup, you come this close to winning, and LAFC, they pull Gareth Bale off the bench while the Union are pulling off Chris Donovan.
Right.
And then just you're that close, and then you don't make investments to bring in people to get you over the hump, basically.
And I think that's the
And that's a
biggest
big
thing.
grump, and that's a very valid point for
It is.
sure.
I mean, you had the
They wanted to
media.
run it back, but then they ran it back again. So I get that. I get that frustration.
Right.
There were some um good questions. Also, want to bring up, I know Jimmy King asked about transportation.
I know that's a big one.
Yeah,
And I was talking with Ed Fagan
the public
about
transit.
that too, about that. And he kind of brought me up to speed about like just the
Yeah.
frustrations. A lot of people, and we saw a couple comments about going from the city, taking transits, just the shuttles and all that. So it was really interesting what Ed was sharing with me because
Yeah.
I know I've talked to him in the past about it and I've talked to Jimmy about it too. But I was just like, why isn't this happening? And he kind of brought back down to like, here's a simple like Cliff Notes version.
Right. So, about that, so currently the SEPTA, there's a stop at Highland Avenue, which apparently is very dilapidated, and it's not safest thing and it's pretty far too. It's like a 20 some minute walk from there. And the ownership was saying it would be ideal to have a station right down Reaney. Like,
Yeah.
it's less than 10-minute walk from the complex. Okay. So it'd be straight down Reaney. And that would be fantastic. And of course, there's a lot that would have to happen for this. Of course, there's a lot of moving parts, but that would be the ideal thing. And if you can get people easily from the city, bringing them in, that's huge. Plus, it's going to help your parking issues
Oh,
with egress
huge.
and everything. And I get, they make tons of money. They're going to get people parking anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
you got people like us coming from
Yeah.
outside of the we can't take public transit there at all. Okay, they SEPTA does not run to Lancaster, we'll put it that way. So there are you're still gonna have plenty of people paying for parking, but it sure would help alleviate that situation. Plus, get more people that live, within the reach of SEPTA, and getting people from the city, absolutely, because we know plenty of people that are affected by that. And so, because you think about like the sports complex,
Mm.
how you have, the Broad Street line right there, and how people travel there, and it's great. Plus, yeah, you do have tons of people who park too. So, I mean, it just makes it so much easier.
I think at the end of the day, it's a win-win.
And I love the idea. I know so many people brought up about, wouldn't it be cool if there was a ferry and that dock right there? Because they have that,
Yeah.
you know, man, that would be really cool. But um, I think definitely there's so many good ideas when it comes to the public transportation, also just revitalizing that area for
Right.
sure. So I thought that was a good point. And there were some other questions too, just off the top of my head. I mean, there's a lot. If you want to see everything I put, it's on my Twitter, and I know other people like go check out Mike Thomas on Twitter. I think he posted the whole
Jose posted
Jose
that.
posted stuff, Jose Nunez. So you can find everything if you want to know. I know one of the questions too was about subbing. Why
Yeah.
doesn't Jim sub more and blah blah. And Jim's like, how many times did Emma Hayes sub in the Olympic gold medal match? But one of the questions, why aren't you playing Kevin Sullivan? And Ernst Tanner very bluntly is like, he's 14 years old.
Yeah.
And then he did say, like, he might feature more next year, but
One
he's got to develop.
one of the questions I know you brought up was about, I think it was Tito brought up
Yes.
about the Spanish speaking and like just
Just like,
more
yeah.
more stuff for people with,
Yeah. So a big problem with the Cruz Azul match was you have all these people there that speak Spanish and they're trying to go in the river end, and this was brought up too by the ownership, how they initially tried to give the Cruz Azul fans who had gotten tickets in the river end, give them like standing room only tickets, and trying to
Yeah.
not have them go in there. Like literally, some of the owners are actually over there, like dealing with this too, and like I think Mark Evans and some people. But anyway, but it became just too much.
Yeah.
But part of the problem with the game too was like there was a language barrier, like with guest services and everything.
Yeah.
They didn't have really people to try to communicate these things to the Spanish speaking fans. So, and Tita brought up a great point. Language Service Associates is one of the team partners.
Exactly.
So, that was a great point. I know he brought up about the lack of, prominence of the MLS Go program too. Like on the website, it was hard to find that stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like some good points there with that. And, some people brought up about the making it, well, they brought about season ticket prices and like the concession prices, stuff like that. But I know they did mention there's gonna be some upgrades to, they're upgrading the sound system in the off
Yeah.
season. Um, they did bring up the Wi-Fi. That would be, that would be good to bring up something about service. But anyway, they're gonna have they're going through contracts for food and beverage. So maybe there'll be like some different options and
Right.
stuff. Andre Blake, get on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Get Andre.
we want some Jamaican food. I love jerk chicken. That's why I had to ask because yeah, big fan of that. But anyway, that would be amazing. Um, and so about season ticket member gifts and stuff, people are talking about that, and people love the blankets, but why you're only getting one per account? And there's like you got like 6 tickets on the account, and you got one blanket. Everyone
It's
really loves the
about
blankets. We love our blanket. It's
But it's
nice.
a fair point. Like, why, if you have, like, if you're spending thousands of dollars, why are you just getting a blanket?
Yeah. So I mean, absolutely. And for me, I appreciate that, say we get like a small discount at the team store, but
Right.
I've always said, it'd be really good because maybe get a nice discount on like getting a team jersey or
Right.
something, you know, because they're expensive, but that would be a nice
Yeah.
perk.
Like, say, hey,
We're
you
not
want to
we
get
don't
an
expect a
authentic?
free one, but
You
maybe,
want to get an authentic or even a half one? We'll give you
yeah,
50% off.
50% off would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it was brought up, and shout out to Renee Silver Ray about, oh, the Red Bulls fans, they got like Sambas. They weren't actually Sambas, apparently. Thank you, Bros.
Yeah.
But they got there are these shoes and stuff, and you know, I'd be quite behind that, getting a
Me too.
shoes. So
Eh,
yeah,
I think that's good that, and I know they were saying they're looking into it. We'll
right, right.
see. I mean, it sounded like there was a lot of like, oh yes, we're gonna listen to your problems. Now, the proof in the pudding is, are they gonna act on these things? We'll find out.
Yeah. And I get like some people are still very dissatisfied with the answers, and um, you
I
know,
mean, you're one. Let's talk about your one tweet.
yeah. So yeah, thanks Kevin Kincaid for quoting my one post because no, you brought up some good points, by the way, about what Richard Leibovich said about, well, he wanted to dispel this myth that, they just have these talks behind closed doors and they, you know, they don't want to spend money on these big players and this and that. And listen, they are very committed to the development model, but what they don't want to do is have bring in these big players and then they only last like 1 or 2 years and then it's like they got to punt the season and be a rebuild. They want to always like have that growth happening,
Uh,
which okay.
yeah.
But as someone said, we don't need a Gareth Bale. I think it was Mike Thomas said, we don't need a Gareth Bale signing or Benteke or somebody, but bring in some players that are, you know, very good quality.
And that's a
And that's
fair
fair.
and that's a very fair point.
Yeah.
No, and I okay, so as a coach, you have to stay true to your motto. And
Yeah.
I bring this to swimming terms. There are coaches that are distance coaches. I am coaches, sprint coaches.
Yep.
Everybody has,
I'm a developmental coach.
but
Mhm.
but having said all that,
Yep.
you have to stay true to your form.
Yes.
So maybe this is what the union believe in,
Mhm.
and that's fine, but it doesn't mean they can't tweak it.
Yeah, I mean,
You can always tweak a form, but what you can't do is break that mold.
yeah.
So, I mean, like it or not, for the fans, that's what the union are going to be. And now it's up to the union to say, okay, how do we develop it um, to where we can maximize it? And they brought up about the U-22, and I mean,
Yes.
I'll bring this up real quick. I mean, the roster um, models were announced today where clubs
Yep.
can either go with the DP model, which is the traditional
Yeah.
model, or they can go with the U-22 initiative model, which
Yeah.
is 2 DPs and 4 U-22s. They brought up yesterday they need to use the U-22 model a little bit better,
Yep. Yep. And that's what a lot of people
and
saying.
that's
They
what the union went
Mhm.
with. So, and they get an extra $1 million, and
Mhm.
we would be led to believe that hopefully they keep that. They'll get another 2 million next year in 2025. So, I mean, there are things they need to improve on. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. But
Yeah. I will say this, I think it while not everyone's going to agree with
right.
the answers that they heard or be satisfied with everything, I think it was good to hear from the owners. You got to hear from Jim. You got to hear all these things straight from the horse's mouth, and be able to ask questions and all that. Because I find that I think at least it seems to me that ownership and everything is way more accessible than do you think Jeffrey Lurie would have
No,
a
he
town hall like this when the Eagles, like, had
no,
their
and that's
collapse?
the other
No.
thing. Look, I'm not buying everything they're saying in that right off the bat.
Oh, no, no, no,
I'm
no.
not buying everything they were saying in that meeting because there's always some things I'm like, that's not the case, and I'm not going to talk about here.
Right.
However, at least they got out there and they tried to, I would almost say, sell them on, okay, here, sell the fans on this is the
Yeah.
idea. And I get that. It was more of a sales pitch too.
I do feel like they do care.
I think they do care. I think
I
that
think Jay cares as much as people grumble about him not wanting to, spend. I think he cares. I think he was genuinely oblivious to some things, but, I think Richard Leibovich absolutely cares.
he's a fan
Yeah, yeah,
first.
yeah. Like, I felt like a lot of honesty from him there. Um, Jim, I loved his very heartfelt talk about Brujo
Oh,
and
it's
Jillian.
phenomenal.
That was my favorite part of the night, honestly. I thought Tim McDermott gave some very good responses, so, and Ernst, he's very blunt in what he says and everything, and he's very, like, "We have this development model, and we believe in this," and, I mean, yeah. So,
It's what he's sticking to. So
yeah, they threw
now
me
it's up to him to adapt to it. But
yeah.
hey, you know, final thoughts on it?
I mean, I'm glad I was able to go.
Mhm.
I thought it was productive. I know not everyone is gonna be satisfied or pleased, and it is what it is, but you can if you haven't listened to it or I mean, I don't know when they're going to release their actual uh, copy of it, but it's out there. You can find the recordings of it. You can make your own, decisions and everything.
And we would like to hear from you. If you were there, please share your thoughts, comment, message us. We'd like to hear some of your thoughts too, because I think I think there needs to be more conversations like this in the future. I don't think it needs to be like, oh, every couple years we'll have a town hall. I think
Yeah.
this needs to be like a yearly thing, maybe even do an off-season one. I don't know.
I think it was good rather than all the keyboard warriors on Twitter and everything going after each other and just
Yeah,
this
just
I
fighting.
liked this good, like, in-person discussion, and you got not just because, like, I think you see on social media a small sampling of the fan base, honestly, so, no, it was good to have this, absolutely, so but yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts too.
So yeah. Anyway, so Union back on Saturday versus Mazatlan.
Yep, 7:30 PM again, hope to see people there, we will be there.
We'll
My
be there.
brother and his fiancée are coming, and we'll be in 136. Kyle will be up in the press box, but I'm excited because they had come when it was the RSL game, and Kyle got his head shaved, and then that was when the losing streak started, but, I blamed it on, well, the fact that they didn't get to come into the game because they had to rush home due to their dog being let out accidentally by their neighbor and getting running around the neighborhood, so, I think I'm glad for them to get to try again here, and hopefully they see a good game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a good one. I mean, you don't look at the Liga MX standings because you'll say, "Oh, this should be an easy one for the Union." No, no,
I mean, they just beat
this
Cruz
is all
Azul.
in
I mean, in
PKs.
PKs, but
Yeah, I mean,
they had a lead on them.
They lost their first game to New England 1-0. Then they beat Nashville 2-0.
And those teams aren't very good, but
And
still.
then they go out and what was it? They beat um Benteke and DC United 2-1.
Yeah.
And they were DC was down a man.
Yeah.
Then Cruz Azul was down man, and they were up 2-0. But then Cruz Azul came storming back with two late 10-minute goals.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be an exciting game.
It is, and Union, yeah, they can't take them lightly. They need
No,
to come out and just keep the momentum going, and, yeah, we'll see what they can do. They're gonna be home, but again, they've got good momentum. They need to keep it going, and, yeah, we'll see.
I think so far when you talk about conference versus team, this Leagues Cup has been a good boost.
It has. It's good that they were able to keep that confidence building. And I mean, you want to talk confidence? Ty Baribo.
Ty Baribo's really made a name for himself. It was good to see Mikel going. It's
Yeah.
good to see Danny getting involved with like the passing game, and being involved with that front three. It was good to see the defense, even though they had some miscues that led to goals. They were solid throughout the night. Martinez was solid. I mean, the depth of the bench, I know Todd talked about on his podcast today, the depth of this team. When you see Flock coming in,
Mhm.
that second half, you saw Flock coming in. You saw Adeniran coming in. You saw Harrell coming in when Baeza had that knock. You
Yeah.
saw Sullivan coming in. I mean, this is better. Um, sure. Would you like that $1 million player to come off the bench? Sure. Why not? But this you feel confident with.
Hmm.
There's a lot of different ways this team can go.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways because I mean, Bueno didn't see action. Lowe was on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, there were still bodies on that bench.
Do you think Lowe gets the start on
I
Saturday?
don't know. I don't know. Another Mexican team. Okay. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, because of his experience in
Do
CONCACAF,
not
right?
play three in the back, though, Jim. Do not play
Yeah.
three in the
I
back.
don't think I don't know if he does will do that with it being at home. I
We'll
don't know.
find out.
We'll see.
But anyway, that's all the time we have for this episode. The one team we agree on.
Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on our various platforms and let us know what you think. We love hearing from you. Give us comments. Yeah, let us know what you think, good or bad. Um, you know, we'd love to hear your opinions, and we'd love to hear what you thought about the town hall, especially. So, um, so definitely look forward to reading some comments on that.
Yeah. And until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm Jillian.
We'll see you at the game.